a creation of Allah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. My name is Dawood. Just here with Brother Hassan today, giving a little talk about my life and how I come into Islam. So I grew up in a single parent family with one other sibling, a younger sister. Rarely saw my dad. Once in a blue moon he'd come around. I suppose I don't really know too much what to say about my younger life, but I was always inclined towards sort of violence, being quite boisterous. And as I got older, the dirt I used to do increased a little bit. So around 2006 now, I got my first sentence. I got 3 years, and before that I'd always had so-called Muslims around me, but they were just like I was. They was probably doing more dirt than I did, so they never used to make me look into Islam or anything. And when I went away, it was more or less the same thing. I had brothers in the soul next to me, and they were saying, oh, you know, you should be an akhi. And then I was seeing some brothers, they were just treating this thing like it was a gang. And imagine this, me as a non-believer, someone that I suppose at that time I would have considered myself atheist. I lacked spiritual aspects of Buddhism and so on, but you know, not really religious. But it used to get to me, because I used to think, what are these brothers doing? You know, they're running up and down on the wing, robbing this one, doing that, and I used to think, this is not. It used to get me angry, this is not what it's about. And I just thought to myself, these people are taking it for a mockery, like it's a mockery. A lot of people, they become Muslim, and it was like a sort of, but not all, but you could tell that with a lot, they kind of felt scared when they went inside, and it was like a protection thing or something, you know. So for me, even if I'd have maybe seen some light in it, I just wouldn't have felt right becoming a Muslim inside there, because I'd have felt it was, you know, it's kind of looked upon like, okay, that's why he's done it, or that's whatever. And I never had the knowledge at that point. Allah hadn't guided me. But one day I remember in HMP Brixton, I was banged up with a brother, and for the life of me I don't remember his name. I remember he was mixed race. He had tattoos of crosses and that on his back from previously he was a Christian. And being banged up with this brother, there was just something like he didn't watch TV, you know. He seemed very calm and content. We used to talk a little bit, because I'd ask him, you know, questions. Can't remember what those questions were. Probably quite ignorant questions and that. But he was always calm and relaxed with me, and I'd have my views and opinions. And all I can remember him saying, you know, he'd say maybe, he wouldn't like argue with me. He would just calm and relax about it. And you know, he said to me, look, I hope it doesn't bother you and that. I get up in the morning and I pray Fajr prayer. And I remember I said, no, you know what, that's your religion, bro. Like, you do what you gotta do. I respect that. And I remember one morning, it must have been like, you know, 3 o'clock in the morning, something like that. And he's getting up and he's washing his ears in the sink and doing everything, and this whole ritual, saying these Arabic words. And I just remember thinking at that point in my life, this was 2006, I remember thinking, you know what, there's no way I'm getting out of my bed now to do this. Like, how's he doing this? And I know that most of these, or a lot of these brothers that I've spoken to on the wing, and I know they're not up at this time doing it as well. So all I know, I can't remember, and hopefully, maybe if this brother's watching this now, we can get in touch, because you know, part of my Islam surely must be attributed to him. He must be getting some rewards along the way somewhere. But because I never become Muslim then, but he left some kind of impression on me, yeah, that was more powerful than all of these other, you know, so when these other Muslims doing what they're doing on the wing, just him getting up and practicing Islam and being calm, just his character, and he didn't have to watch TV, he had something that I couldn't put my finger on. It wasn't something physical, but he had something that I didn't have. And I realized that, and I just thought, you know what, you know, that left some kind of impression on me. But as we do, we go about with the distractions and everything, you know, lose sight of what's real in this life, and those deep questions that we all have within us, that why are we here, what's our purpose, and all that, and we just, you know, well, for me, in my case, just follow my desires. You know, that's what I was doing, just following my desires at that point. That's when I got stung with my first 3-year sentence. So I've done 18 months out of that. Come out, there was a bit on tag as well, and the rest was on license. By the end of my license, you know, I got slapped with another 3 years, and because around that time, you know, pretty much, yeah, everything was haram, everything I was doing my whole life. But I didn't know better. I'd never been taught no, but I think deep down we do know, but I'd never been sort of showed any other way. So this was the way that seemed, you know, the right path for me at the time. So the second time I went away, the thing about prison is, when I was out on the road and I was running about like a madman, I was with such and such and doing this and that, you know, you never really have time to think or to reflect. And I did have that when I was inside. I had lots of time, spare time on my hands, so I'd use this time to reflect. I'd do a little bit of reading, studying, you know, studying into some forms of, as I said, Buddhism was one. Actually, when I was in Brixton on my first sentence, I'd done a bit of meditation with Buddhist monks. They used to come and visit one wing I was on, and some of the stories they would say afterwards, you know, really spiritual stories, they used to resonate with me. So, but again, never looked at Islam to be fair. The way I kind of viewed Islam was like, it was just something similar to like Christianity, but for people in another part of the world. You know, not even necessarily Arabs, because I didn't used to see too many Arabs that were Muslim, but I just used to think that it wasn't for white people, for instance. Like, it wasn't for the whole of humanity. It was just for specific races. But this was my mindset back then. So when I was away on my second sentence, I used to visit the church sometimes, you know, because I was Christian when I was young. I never got taught anything about the Bible or Christianity. It was more like a cultural thing, traditional thing that, you know, you get christened and whatever. My mum was not religious. And I think it was just about trying to like, I wanted to there was something deeper there. Like I said, I was always searching. I was reading things and books and, you know, about spirituality, Buddhism, other faiths, you know. So I was kind of sort of searching a little bit, but I'd be easily diverted, easily distracted at the same time as well. So after my release, I started to look into ancient secret societies and so on, and to kind of look at that side of things and these symbols that we see all throughout society. I'm not going to get too deep into it, but I did get very deep into it at the time, and it kind of exposed all the problems to me in this world. It exposed a lot of problems to me, and I could see them very clearly now. So for a while, I was kind of stuck there, you know. I was kind of stuck there in that, you know, not for too long, but for around about a year or something. I was going deep, I was researching hard. It's like I become someone else as well, you know. Like, I wanted to just learn, you know. I wanted to learn about things, history, everything else. And throughout this period, I've done so much research into so many ideologies, philosophies, religions, all the rest of it, all of this, and going back to their roots. And going back to their roots as much as I could, and eventually, this, you know, at this point, I knew that there was a creator. There was a choice to be made. You know, it didn't say, okay, you have to choose a religion or this and that. But I knew there was a choice to be made. I knew there's evil in this world now. It's been shown to me very clear, and I knew that I've been an advocate of it. So now I wanted to change that. I knew now I know better. I can no longer justify my actions, whereas in the past I would have been able to justify them one way or another. I say, okay, you know, it's dog eat dog out here, that's why I do this or this. I could always have a justification. But now it was like it had been shown to me as clear as day that this is why this and that is happening. You know, and you can't be doing this no more. Like, your actions have repercussions, there's consequences to them. I might not have been able to see them consequences before, but they're there. So, and there was so much pointing towards religions, world religions. And when I got to that point in my life, it's okay, I want to look more now at the different religions out there, because who am I to say, knowing nothing about these subjects, that the Christian is wrong, or the Muslim is wrong, or the Jew is wrong? Who am I to say? But at the same time, I know that there's a creator. I know that I'm going to be standing face to face with him one day, or, you know, be standing in front of him. So what am I going to say? Oh, you know, it's very confusing, I didn't know what to do. No, surely he's going to ask me, you know, okay, what did you do to look? What did you do to find out? And I asked with sincerity. I asked, you know what, it's very confusing. I don't have much knowledge on this, I don't know. So I asked for some guidance and assistance on this, not to Allah, not to any other God, just to the one creator of the heavens and the earth that I knew at this point existed. So I see around that time, it was like I got hit with another test, you know. Are you really going to be sincere in your search? Because around this time there was a lot of Christians who was coming towards me, you know, they was giving me the Bible, and there was something like morally in their teachings that I couldn't deny, I couldn't argue with, but there was something more, because I said, you know, when I was doing my research, I would always go to the root. So going to the root of Christianity, how am I going to go to the root of this book, the Bible? You know, there was some problems there that I just said, look, this book, there has been corruption. There has been the Council of Nicaea, by the Council of Nicaea in 325 AD or around that time. You had powerful pagans, you know, Christians, they were debating for centuries between each other about, was Jesus God, was he Son of God, was he this? And you have very powerful pagans who kind of put the stamp on the Bible and said, this is the Gospels that we want and this is what we want it to be. And there's no denying that. You can deny it, but it doesn't make no sense. It's there, it's historically documented. So, you know, any Christian on the street can tell me what they want, but it's very clear when you go back and do the history. And you look at today, you know, Christians are celebrating the winter solstice on the 25th of December, and they're calling it Christmas, the birthday of Jesus. Yet no religious Christian will tell you that that's his birthday. They will tell you that no, there's no scriptural evidence anywhere. So why are they celebrating the winter solstice, a pagan holiday? Likewise, the equinox, Easter, celebrating Easter. These are pagan festivals, and Christians might tell me they don't believe in them, but you're celebrating it. So if you're celebrating it, surely that must make you a pagan. You're celebrating a pagan festival, you're embracing it, you must be a pagan. So with Christianity, even though I wanted something at this point, I'm saying, look, realistically, I cannot take this seriously. How can I take it seriously? It's been corrupted, yeah, like many other things in there. I want the truth, and I want the whole unadulterated truth. I don't want no mixing in there. Because many things I was looking into at the time, undoubtedly there was truth in there. There was truth. But it will be mixed with all this falsehood as well. You know, so how can I distinguish what is real, what is not? Yeah, so one day I was in South, and I see some brothers, and they was doing dawah at a table, and you know, I had a lot to say on things at that time. And because I was searching, I stopped and I spoke to these brothers, and at the end of it they give me some leaflets. But there's a teaching that there was many prophets. I don't know if it's around 100,000 or a high amount of prophets and messengers that were sent to every nation, you know, throughout man's existence. So we know about the main ones in these stories, but this to me said, okay, maybe whoever come with the Hindu scriptures that ultimately talk about one God, whoever come with the Buddhist scriptures that more or less leaves out the concept of God, but there's so much, there's like I said, there's some truth in some of the teachings. Whoever come with, possibly they were prophets. Who knows? But with these prophets like Jesus, peace be upon him, Moses, peace be upon him, it says it's not denying them. Yes, they were there, but their message has been changed. It has been corrupted by those that seek to control, and this message hasn't been kept in and preserved, because it isn't the last message. It's only the last message that's gonna be preserved, you know, logically, if we look at it. So when I come onto Islam, finding out about this, that there's been so many prophets and messages throughout mankind, they've all come with the same message, which is worship one God, worship one Allah, the creator of the heavens and the earth. And that makes sense to me, and it explains why there is others. And as I've already stated, if you go back and you look historically and you go back to the roots, you can see that there has been corruption with these other religions. And not only that, the languages they were revealed in are classed as dead language. They're classified as dead language. You know what I mean? Nobody speaks them in the world, but very few people speak them, and it's not practical to go and learn these languages. But the claims that were being made from the Quran, like, you know, the Arabic's never been changed, it was the same then, it's the same now. You know, people have set out to disprove this and haven't been able to, and ended up becoming Muslims. And the big thing for me was science. I'd always been, you know, subscribed to science in a way, and when it started talking, and I see statements in there about embryology and this and that. Now, we're not using science to prove the Quran. We know science always changes, but for me at the time, this was something big, that science doesn't disprove the Quran as it does disprove many other faiths out there. It doesn't disprove Islam. In fact, from the research I've done, the Quran and Islam is ahead of science, and science is still catching up to it. So it was all of these things from the religious aspect, looking at how, you know, Allah is now telling us that all of these religions have come from Him, come from the same source. But man who seeks to control people, you know, in positions of power, has tried to alter and corrupt this message, and succeeded by the permission of the Creator, because these were not the last messages. They were always destined to be corrupted. But we have something now in its completed form, the same message but in its completed form, that hasn't been changed, where there's a wealth of information there readily available for any of us to go and search it. And this is a message that was revealed to not just black people or Asian people or Chinese, or it's revealed to the whole of mankind. That's including me. It was revealed for me as well. So looking at it, taking a holistic approach, looking at it, you know, from the scientific aspect, from the historical aspect, from the religious aspect, from the political aspect, how it solves so many problems in society, I now could not fault this religion, this way of life. And to add on to what I was just saying, though, the simplistic aspect of Tawheed, you know, one creator, one eternal being, separate from his creation, not part of his creation, but in control of everything. And likewise, not the when creation come into existence, so did time and space. So our creator is not bound by laws of time and space. Who created these laws of the universe even? You know? So many things was answered to me. It's like all of my questions was answered that I had. And everyone might have their different questions and the different pieces of the jigsaw puzzle that need to fit for them to come onto where it is. But for me, it was that I was just reading one of these leaflets, and it's like, mate, you answered each and every question I had. I was like, wow. So at the end of that, it actually told me the words to say to take the shahada. It said, but they give me some leaflets, one about interest usury, one about terrorism, you know, a few little small bite-sized things. And I remember going home, and when I finally got time to read this, because I looked in the past and I see the problems, like how the financial system, the monetary system, is just demolishing countries all over the place with this system of interest. And I'm looking at Islam, it says riba, usury, it's not allowed. It used to be the same in Christianity before, but then the church kind of overruled that and changed it. So, but in this is a major problem that's doing severe damage in the world today. But I'm seeing with Islam, it was wrong then and it's wrong now. I'm like, okay, so that's one issue. If we was all to, you know, follow this, then that's one issue. Okay, that's a problem solved. That's one problem solved. I was sitting in my bedroom one night and I was just reading, I think it was the Brief Illustrated Guide to Islam, and it answered all the questions that I had, those main ones. So at the end of it, it actually told you the words to say for the shahada, what it means. And in my heart of hearts at that time, I knew this is exactly what my, now I can see it clearly, it's been explained to me. I knew this is what my heart is saying. If I don't accept this in this moment, I'm going against my own heart. So right there and then, I said those words, La ilaha illallah Muhammadan Rasulullah, that there is none worthy of worship except Allah, and that Muhammad, peace be upon him, is the last and final messenger of Allah. So that was it. From then, I kind of started my journey. You know, I think it was the next day, I was coming through the area that I live, and I noticed so there was two brothers, and it was at a bus stop, and they was talking about faith, religion, and all the conversations I was in previously was about, you know, just boasting and egotistical things, and I wasn't interested in that no more for quite a while. At this point, man, I kind of left all that, and these brothers were talking about faith and that, and I just said, you know, is it okay, can I listen to what you're saying? And they explained one was a Muslim, practicing Muslim, mashallah, that I'm still friends with to this day. The other brother, he was, and the brother who's very practicing, he was a revert as well. The other brother's a born Muslim, and he said he's not really so practicing. They asked me what I was, and I said, well, I took my shahada at home, and so I suppose I'm a Muslim. And from then the brother, the revert brother, he was texting me, told me to come to a masjid, and from there I started going to this masjid. Got to know more brothers. It was a bit intimidating at first with all these Abdul Rahman, Abdul this and that, you know, so many names and a whole way and etiquettes and that I just wasn't used to, but I really did see the beauty of it. And one of the main things for me when I entered into Islam, I see a brother that I'd known for quite a while, didn't really keep strong ties with, but he said to me, you know, some brothers sat down with me, they see me, I come to the Masjid and they was asking me about how did I come into Islam and whatnot. And then afterwards someone invited me out to go for a meal and to meet the Imam. And the other brother that I knew, because I was a bit like this, the other brother I knew said, yeah, go with them. So I went, and what I remember is when I got to this restaurant, we went to this restaurant in East London, and it's like some of the brothers, big beards, stoves, everything. From what you see on the media, I'm thinking, hold on, what's going on here? You know, what have I come into? But I noticed something. If I was out with my group of friends at the time, number one, there'd have to be some form of haram involved, alcohol, some form, you know, for us to be there socializing generally. And we'd all be shouting over each other and being very crude and rude towards women. And whatever else, and what I'm seeing now with these brothers is, you know, my cheeks, I'm smiling. Yeah, so if I was with my friends, you know, we'd always be shouting over each other. We'd all have to be, you know, there'd be intoxicants there. And you know what I noticed when I was sitting down with these brothers, mashallah, was that I was actually, my cheeks was hurting. I was laughing and smiling so much, but the jokes, they weren't real jokes. It was, everything was, brothers were talking about how they was doing charity, this and that, you know, certain things that they just done to help and support a cause. young guys like my age and that, none of my friends ain't doing this stuff. So obviously we was in East London, and you know, maybe it was Friday, Saturday night, I can't remember. But there was women walking around wearing, you know, just how they want to dress. And no one's being disrespectful, everyone, no one's even looking, everyone's, you know, just enjoying their night. And one thing that I remember is that, you know, the kind of picture that we have painted to us through the media is that Muslim men have beat their wives, and they you know, they get them unlocked like this, and the way the brothers are joking and what they're saying is like, nah, the wives have got them unlocked, they're under the thumbs, you know what I'm saying, like they better be in at this time. Or so I really did, you know, the kind of misconceptions was all cleared up for me then. And yeah, I mean, so yes, it's taking my shahada and coming into Islam. It's been a little over 3 years now, alhamdulillah, and it hasn't in any stretch of the word made my life easier. The tests have become more, but with the guidance and how to go through these tests, you know, it's made me a lot stronger, because I believe if you going through things don't just make you stronger. Two people can go through something, it can break one person, it makes the other stronger. It's how you go through things. It's not just going through problems, it's how you go through it. We as Muslims, we have the guidance there from Quran and Sunnah. So if we use that guidance, we go through things in the right way, it can only strengthen us. And I really do honestly believe, I mean, look, from 2006 till 2012, I was either inside or out on license, you know, with some kind of supervision, attack or whatever. Now there's been none of that, no arrest. The longest time in my life I've become a, you know, I have a decent job as a crane supervisor. I've become a personal trainer as well. All in this time, I've started to learn the Arabic language, which to me seems miraculous. You know, it's like so much things in my life have improved, my character, everything, because of this. And I really do honestly believe, had it not been for Islam, had Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not interjected and guided me to Islam, then I'll be in somewhere stuck in the system right now, you know, somewhere in the system. That's no doubt, that's where I'll be, no doubt.
Okay, so Dawood, you said that when you was in jail the first time, that the Muslims were basically like a gang. What advice would you give to these brothers, yeah, who are not aware of what their actions do to a non-Muslim?
See, be sincere. Number one, be sincere. You know, in what you do, be sincere. Do it for the right reasons. Do it because you want to please and earn the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Basically, it's turning a lot of brothers away. I don't hear so much of it now. Obviously, I'm away from that lifestyle though. But before, I know there was a lot going on around certain areas as well. There was, you know, false things that are just not from Islam, like, and this can really give a wrong impression for someone who doesn't know. So they're doing Islam a big disservice, And like I say, I wasn't even religious, but it used to anger me because brothers are just, they're taking it for a compliment. So yeah, number one, I mean, anything we do in this world, we should be sincere about it.
Do you think that someone who's thinking about becoming Muslim could not become Muslim because of their actions?
Oh, definitely, you know, because people all the time now, when we're giving dawah, you know yourself, they're going to use examples of such and such a Muslims, or what these people are doing in this part of, they always use Muslims as some kind of reason why they won't enter Islam, rather than something that's from the Quran or from the Sunnah, from the teachings of Islam. You know, all we say is look at the vessel, the car, or the vehicle that's used to get you there, rather than the driver of that vehicle could be driving it badly. These are, you know, don't look at the bad examples, look at the good examples. If you are going to use the Muslims, then at least look at the Muslims who are doing their utmost and striving to follow the teachings of Islam, not the ones that are, you know, because the funny thing is, they will say to you, look, Muslims ain't supposed to do that. It's like they know that they're not supposed to be doing such and such and such a thing. So why use them Muslims as an example? They're doing wrong. They're doing wrong against the religion. You know, none of us are perfect. None of us are perfect by any stretch. So we are gonna make mistakes. We are gonna do things wrong. But why use, you know? But this is the point. We're always being watched. We're always being assessed. So as Muslims, especially if you're gonna have the beard, you know, wear Islamic dress so that and stand out in society as Muslims, then as ambassadors of the, we need to be like ambassadors of the faith. We need to show the true Islam and implement the knowledge of what we've learned.
You wasn't even religious. Why was it worse that Muslims were going around robbing people, slapping people up, bashing people up than other boys on the wing? Why was it worse that for you? Because you wasn't religious. So why was it worse that a Muslim was doing it and other boys were doing it?
Because they felt safe, and I think because they feel safe in it. Ah yes, I'm here, I'm in a gang, I've got my protection. Do you know what I'm saying? No, unless it's another brother or something, I ain't got to worry about, you know, someone who's not coming to the mosque or doing such and such. Like me personally, I never had no problems with any Muslims in it, but I see this stuff going on. Do you know what I mean? And it did used to upset me.
I understand. No problem. Jazakallah khair.